So this is Dark Souls Remastered. We're on Xbox Series X, 60 FPS, and it has auto HDR support. It does have an improved resolution, but I guess it renders usually at 1800p from the 1X version of the game, according to the fine folks at Digital Foundry. I'm joined by my pal Mitchell here.
Hello.
And we're going to be just kind of playing and showcasing the epic adventure that is Dark Souls. I understand you've set us up at a particular point.
Yeah, you know what? I've got a soul level 2 character right now, who is, for those in Dark Souls, that basically means that you've beaten the game and gone through it entirely, and now you basically a new game plus. And right now I'm just at the Bell Gargoyle portion, but you keep all of your armor and all of your weapons from the previous save essentially, so it just kind of goes onwards. So I'm gonna kind of go forward and just fight them. I'm currently wearing Havel's armor. I've got the Moonlight Butterfly Spear. Yeah, it's gonna be a nice good time.
Moonlight Butterfly. So what's the gist of the story of Dark Souls?
Man, that's a loaded question. The main thing with Dark Souls is that you're an undead. There's humanity has been cursed with undeath, and in doing so, the world's like gods, which have created or have culled the fire and the first flame, which kind of rose out of nothing, have started to realize that the flame is going out, and they've kind of abandoned everybody, and humanity is sitting here going, well, we're all cursed to be undead, so let's see what we can do.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, as many people know as well, Dark Souls is legendarily hard.
It is a very hardcore game that's about death and dying.
Just an amazing game, though.
You have died?
I have died so many times.
And you've died in the board game, too?
I have died in the board games more times.
There's a lot of bodies there. I like how you can just kind of kick the bodies around. That's hilarious.
I like the running animations, like the ragdoll effects.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it looks really smooth. It seems to be playing well. Has the HDR really added much for you?
Absolutely, 100%. Like everything looks better.
It's
like
a little more glowy. It's very sharp looking, like picture-wise. It looks very clean.
I've talked about this before, and like off what I play, I have a Series X, but I'm stuck on a projector, which is on 1080, like stuck on 1080. So it kind of sucks that even though I have the Series X, I don't get the full picture of it. But I also play on 160-inch
You'll get super sampling.
Pretty much, yeah. So.
Oh, this is that thingy where you go through the smoke and then it becomes all epic, because it's a game kind of based around boss fights.
Yeah, boss fights are basically the main thing, and if you've ever played the game before, a boss fight takes place in the first 2 seconds of the game.
Oh, this is actually a really good point to test this, because I remember this being actually like a stress point for the game when people do testing of it.
Absolutely.
This portion here.
So I don't know if I'll actually beat this. The game is much easier after you have progressed through once, because you're going into the new game with new armor.
Yeah.
But while saying that, I've never actually fought these guys on a new game plus before. I'm by no means an expert on this game, but I do love it, and I do love the lore and everything, and it's just generally fun overall.
You've definitely played a lot of it, I think, over the years.
Oh, so Dark Souls is one of those games where there's like a weird community of people who are trying to do ridiculous stuff. So, for instance, there was one guy who just beat the game with the Guitar Hero controller about a couple weeks ago, and he did it while blind.
It's impressive and a little unsettling. So tell us a bit about, because it's kind of an RPG, tell us a little bit about the RPG elements of it.
Yeah, so one of the nice things about Dark Souls is you can go pretty much anywhere. And you're not, other than like many other RPGs, you're sometimes still confined, so to speak, into areas. But the game really wants you to explore, and it doesn't give you anything to work off of whatsoever.
At your hand at all, it just kind of throws you out there and is like, good luck.
Like one of the only things I can possibly say is that early on there is a dude who basically turns around and is like, "Oh, you should probably go ring the bells of awakening," which is where I am currently. But then immediately after, he's just like, "Oh, there's 2 bells of awakening though, just so you know." And it's like, "Oh, well, okay, this is where I'm at."
Yeah, so you got a lot of it's like figuring out what Now, tell us a bit about, I guess you could say, the passive multiplayer that's present.
Yeah, so one thing that can really happen often... Oh, see, you can get hit pretty hard here. One thing that can happen pretty often is if you are living, so there's a couple different steps you have to go through to actually reach this. You start as an undead. When you rest at a bonfire, which is considered the game's saving checkpoints, you can bring yourself back to life using stuff called humanity. When you bring yourself back to life, you actually open yourself into being into a multiplayer mode. And...
He's flying.
Such a pain in the ass. See, yeah, you get hit hard in this game. Real hard.
Yeah, keeping in mind that we are playing while talking.
I apologize, because it's there's definitely that distraction.
Yeah, definitely a focus there. But it's interesting, because I remember when the game kind of opens up, you know, you just basically start with a boss in the game.
Yes, like, one of the first things you do in the game is a boss fight. Like, probably in the first, I'd say about 5 minutes of the game, there is a boss fight. And if you don't know how to do the boss fight, you actually...
You'll have trouble.
You'll have trouble, because you don't... When you first you meet the boss twice in that early fight. The first time, you actually don't get to... you don't actually have a weapon when you meet him for the first time.
Oh yeah, because I remember you can like jump down, and you can, if you get the right strike going, you can kind of clean up pretty quickly, right?
Yes. So, but yeah, to go back onto like what the multiplayer is. Yeah, going back on what the multiplayer is. So once you're in a human form, you open yourself up to being able to be invaded, which is basically a PvP thing in the game. The PvP is honestly, I think personally, really, really phenomenally done. It's very interesting overall, but anybody can invade anybody as long as you are online. You can also summon people though to help you. So I'm undead currently, so you wouldn't have seen it, but there was a summon sign outside of this boss fight of just a character that I found earlier on. Nothing super crazy, but.
You almost got them.
Oh,
it's getting close, man. You need to heal yourself.
I don't think I'm gonna survive it.
We're gonna get that classic screen. Oh, is it gonna pop up?
Yes,
is it gonna pop up?
I was not playing aggressive. It's hard
there
to.
It is.
It's hard to play and talk at the same time. I'm gonna get made fun of for how.
Oh, no, it'll be fine. Yeah, people never understand that, because I do most of my stuff live.
Yeah!
And it takes a lot to kind of like... So that's when you do the reviews, right? You sit there and you're like, okay, so these are kind of the points I want to get to. It's sort of like improv, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You've got set goals, and then you try to reach them while doing stuff, so you can actually get some really memorable random moments that pop up.
We're just like, oh, okay.
Where it's like, oh, cool.
No, so that's kind of the multiplayer portion of it, though. That's probably the main thing with it. Game-wise as well, like, you can go anywhere. It doesn't give you any direction. So that area that you just saw me in is Firelink. That's the bonfire I kind of respawned at. Being there, it's kind of the central area of the game for the most part. And when you start there, there's about 6 different directions you can go, and not a single one is, like, actually explained.
Or...
Yeah, like... It just is like, yeah, so good luck.
Have fun. So comparing this to the original version, you know, the remaster, what do you say is like the biggest like upgrades?
Frame rate.
Frame rate.
Hands down frame rate. Especially in areas like Blighttown, which Blighttown is notorious for being aggressive in its frame drop, yeah. To the point where, and considering that Blighttown actually is one of the areas where not maybe one of the more difficult boss fights, but one of the more... Some of the boss fights you can skip. This boss fight in Blighttown you cannot skip. You have to do it. And getting there is a pain. On top of that, every enemy in that area does bleed damage or poison damage on you, which means that you have continuous damage just being applied to you over time.
It's such a pain.
So, it just sucks. It just sucks a lot.
It's a constant battle against the... I don't know, death.
Pretty much, yeah.
I hate that where you're getting like a slow kind of burn happening to your character's health, and there's not much you can do.
And you don't know what it is as well that actually cures you, because it doesn't explain what cures you. So I keep a little bit on me at all times, which is purple moss. But you don't actually know that, and you wouldn't know that because the stuff that cures you is found in a completely separate area of the game.
That's kind of fun, though. You know, it's neat because not too many games will leave you so like guessing.
Oh, absolutely, and that's something that I think draws a lot of people into Dark Souls so much, is that exact thing of, well, I'm here.
Yeah, figure it out and good luck. And I think that's also why there's so many different kinds of like guides and different styles of play too in this one, is the fact that it leaves it so open for interpretation. Because you could look at one way being like, okay, this is the definite way to kill this
Absolutely.
thing. But then someone else has a different setup with their, I don't know, armor, their weapons.
Absolutely, and I know a lot of people, for instance myself more so, I play heavy. And again, I get roasted for that. I tend to wear heavy armor because I feel like it gives me more protection. Other people, like, there's a really common thing of people just playing the game where they're naked for the whole time.
That's how I was taught to play.
Is that how you were taught?
Yeah, that was Perry. He taught me to play with no clothes or whatever. But you move, a lot more like agilely and.
It makes sense.
You move smoother. You can get the strikes in. I guess it depends again on your playstyle too, right? It's just like all RPG games. Do you want to be more of a heavy attack character, or do you want to be light and moving around? It really comes down to your style of play.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I know my girlfriend who really enjoys this game as well. She plays more of a medium style where she likes to play in stuff, anything that just gives you some protection but isn't actually there to save you. So
just looks cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's all about the aesthetics. That's really it. So what do you get to improve upon as you kind of go along in the game?
The biggest, well, define that question for me so I can make sure.
I mean, it's an RPG game. You're getting armor and stuff like that. So what about the health of the mana? Like, how do you?
So it depends on your playstyle. The bottom right of the screen you can see one down.
Nice.
The bottom right of the screen you can see I have a number. That's my soul counter. Souls are collected from every single enemy, and they're kind of what gives you your. They're what levels you up. Currently, I believe I'm in the level hundreds, like 102 or 104, something like that. And what you can use is you invest each of those into a new level that just upgrades one single thing. So, say I upgraded my health right there, which is my red bar, as usual, or I upgraded my stamina, which is the green bar. The nice thing, or annoying thing, depending on how people you talk to it as well, stuff caps, but you can still invest points in it. You just never realize it caps.
You just never.
So it's a bit of a pain.
Oh, nice.
So.
Victory achieved. You don't see that too often.
You do not see. It's a nice little pretty color and everything. And I retrieved my souls even, so I got some stuff.
Twin Humanities, nice.
And 60,000 souls gained from killing those two gargoyles. So. And then other things though that you can, and I'll just take a quick gander over here. So other things you can see. So I'm a level 108. I have 76,000 souls right now, as you can see on the left. Vitality is your health. Endurance is your stamina. Caps at 46, so I'm at 42. I'm almost capped. Other things you can have, so endurance and strength and dexterity are for weapons. Faith, you can see I don't have very much invested in it. Yeah, exactly. Faith is used for more miracles, which is one of the magic portions of the games. I actually really like the magic for this. There's 3 different magic portions. There's pyromancy. There's like a straight magic casting where it's like soul spears and stuff. And then there's miracles, which are more healing. And it's really impressive, honestly, seeing that you don't really get this explained to you, so you have to look around and figure out where to go for it.
Well, I thought miracles were just something you believed in.
I mean, if you try your best.
Yeah.
One thing I'm also going to point out here, once we're up here, that I don't think I think a lot of people do realize, but this is really a good area, is Dark Souls, like, you can see the whole map in a lot of different areas. So right now we're up on the Bell Gargoyle Tower, and I'm sorry this isn't the best view. Down here, on these ramparts that are down there. That's actually a major boss fight area right there across some of those areas. That's actually one of the main castle walls.
I remember that. Is there like a flying thing that comes in?
Giant Taurus. He's a giant Taurus. Yeah. Other things that a lot of people don't usually see, like up here, that's Anor Londo, which is the city of the gods. And way up there, that's the Seath's Fortress, which is, or the Duke's Archives, which is another boss fight area. So the game is so interconnected, and if you actually are in the right place at the right time, you can actually see entire areas of the map with just very little effort, which I really am impressed by. I think the map building in this game is probably one of the best. Directly behind us is actually Seath's Fortress, which is not Seath's Fortress. I can't even remember what it's called. It's one of the fortresses.
Don't look at me for knowing the naming of this stuff.
Either way, that's actually where you have to go or you have to go later on. It's probably one of the more difficult areas in the game, but.
Okay, so I guess maybe to wrap things up on Dark Souls, anything else you want to go over on the remaster here?
The big thing is that the big thing I've already talked on. They fixed a lot of the like in previous remasters. They fixed the frame rate issue, which was definitely a massive issue overall. Other than that, there's not a lot that we have to go over. The game itself is still the same. Like, the game came out years and years and years ago, right? So
it's still kind of showing its age, but it just looks a little.
It looks a little bit better, and you know what? It plays amazingly. The controls are still amazing. This is definitely a game where you have to be very aware of your placement and everything. I love it. There's so much you can do, and if you guys ever look up videos as well on people just being complete idiots in this game, it is fun to watch. I always say give it a try because it is. It's such a fun game.
Cool.
Yeah.